Do you want to see me do this project? Do you want to see it again? You will never know when creativity hits you. You could be out with the dog, you could sit on the toilet, you could lay in bed, you could rant on Twitter, whatever. But it's very important that when creativity hits you, you can get your ideas out of your mind and into your workstation as fast as possible. That's why I want to show you today a few ways to fast track your FL Studio workflow to get those ideas and create great songs out of them as fast as possible. Alright, let's start with some general settings. I open up my The Root Sandstorm remake project file to demonstrate a few things. If you want to see the remake or the walkthrough of the project file that I've made, I will link them both in the cards up here somewhere and in the description. Let's go to Options, General Settings, and then there's one miscellaneous option that helped me a lot. And it's the, let's see, Restore Previous State After Solo. When I press Command and click here on this enable thing, I can solo them. And as you can see with Restore Previous State After Solo, my hi-hat will stay disabled no matter what I do. And that's great, that's what I want to have. But if I disable this and I solo this synth right here and I disable this solo again, my hi-hat is enabled as well. That cost me a lot of headaches because you don't really realize that something that was disabled before is now enabled. It can keep you from having a lot of problems later on in the mix, and especially when your project file gets bigger and bigger and you have more tracks right here. Another general setting that your PC will thank you for can be found under Tools, Macros, and Switch Smart Disable for all plugins. This will disable all plugins that are currently not used, so it will save a lot of CPU. The next thing that I would recommend is to declutter your user interface. When you first install FL Studio, you have so many buttons and toolbars and views open that it's just completely intimidating and it distracts me so much. So by throwing out almost everything and just focusing on the things that I really need, I streamline my workflow so much. As you can see in this project file, there isn't a whole lot. This is my only toolbar up here and I can edit it even more. If you right click on it and you go to edit, you can see all these things that you can put up here, and a lot of these are by default up here, but I don't need them, so I threw most of them out. I like to have just the thing open that I'm currently needing to just focus on that. The best thing to do this is by navigating with keyboard shortcuts. So if, for example, I want to see my playlist, I press F5. If I press F6, I've got my channel rack. With F7, I've got my piano roll. F8 would be the plugin picker, but I actually never used this. And F9 brings me to my mixer right here. And in my playlist, I disabled the pattern picker, but I can easily get it back with Option P. And I've also disabled the browser, and I can open that one with Option F8. So whenever I need something, I have my keyboard shortcuts to get where I want to get. So that would be another tip. Learn the most important keyboard shortcuts. You can't have your own keyboard shortcuts, you have to learn the ones that FL Studio provides, but they have a pretty good documentation. Another thing that I would recommend is using instruments and audio tracks. This is a fairly new feature that was introduced in FL Studio 20, I think, and it ties together a playlist track, a track in the channel rack, and a channel in the mixer. So they are all linked together. If you change the name in one place, it will change it everywhere else. And if you, for example, have an instrument track here, you can see that the channel that it's linked to in the mixer is grayed out. So you can't link two instrument tracks to one channel in the mixer. So this is locked in. And you can see it by the icon in front of here that it's either an instrument or an audio track. And you will also have a pattern linked to this playlist track right here. Using instrument and audio tracks will make my next recommendation even easier, and that would be to name and color things immediately. It might sound like more work in the beginning, but the more complex your project gets, the messier it will get when you don't name and color things immediately. So whenever I create a new instrument track, I will immediately give it a name. I have specific colors for bass lines or leads or drums or effects. So I will choose the color accordingly and I will give it a temporary name, and I will just have a better overview over everything that I put into the project. Another great thing about instrument tracks that is saving me a lot of time is that if you create an automation clip, it will be automatically be grouped underneath the instrument track in the playlist, and you can hide them if you want so they are out of the way. The problem is if you hide those and you, for example, want to copy something, so you mark it and then you just copy it, you will also copy the automation clip. So I haven't found a good way to lock them, or not a good way, I haven't found any way actually. That's just something that is missing in my opinion. So I hope that this will maybe come in the future, that you can lock them, or maybe there is this feature and I just haven't found it. So if you know anything about that, please let me know. It would be highly appreciated. Let's take a look at the mixer. It is possible to change the mixer layout, and it's a good thing to play around with the different options that you have here to find the one that suits you most. For me, it's the extra large option because I see everything that I need. I can see all the plugins that I have on a channel right here in this overview, so I don't even need this inspector here, so I can disable this by Command Enter. So another keyboard shortcut, very helpful again, so I can toggle it if I want to. Keep in mind that these are things that you can customize however you want. You don't have to do it like I do, you can, but I just want to show you the options that you have. I also like to have specific channels docked to the left and right. As you can see in the middle, this is moving, but these here are stuck to the left and right. And you can do this by right clicking again and here on the layout dock to left, middle or right. These are, for example, effect channels. So if I have something here and I want this channel to be routed through the big reverb, I can do it like that and it's always there. So these are the quick access channels that I want to have on the side all the time. Another very essential part to speed up your production workflow is using buses. A bus is basically a group of multiple channels in your mixer, and you can make changes to that group, so to just one channel in the mixer, and this will affect every child channel of the bus. For example, let's see, we've got this lead bus channel here. It's an audio track, by the way. And let's bring up the inspector. We've got the equalizer right here where we cut off the frequencies in the low end and in the high end. So both the lead sounds that are linked to this bus will have a low cut and a little bit of a high cut. Having buses is also very handy in the mixing process because you can change the volume of an entire group of mixer channels. If I have 4 instruments in the harmony bus, I just have to change the harmony bus and not all the instruments in there, and they can have their individual settings and individual volumes as well. I just change the overall volume. And I can also put effects on here and create automation clips, and this will all affect the child channels. Creating a bus is pretty simple. You just choose one channel that you want to have as the bus channel, then you go to the child channels that you want to route into the bus. You click on them, and as you can see, they are only routed to the bus. They don't route to the master channel. They go into the bus, and then the bus is routed to the master channel. And in this case, it's actually not, because this bus is routed into an instrument bus where all instruments are grouped together, and that instrument bus goes into a pre-master bus, because if I want to put effects on the entire song, for example, I don't want to do this on the master channel. I have this pre-master bus that goes into the master channel, and on the master channel I only have the plugins that I use to master the end result. And I know what you're thinking, that sounds great, but that is so much work. I can never do this every time I open FL Studio. You said you would show us the fastest way to get our ideas into songs. That is the total opposite of that. Yeah, you're right. That is a whole bunch of work that you have to do up front, and I wouldn't do this every time I open FL Studio as well. I'm lazy as f. I wouldn't do anything. My projects would look like a mess. But look at this. It looks so clean and so nice, and you have an overview of everything that you need, and it's quickly accessible. And to do this, you can create templates. So you have to only set it up once. Set it up as you want and set it as your default template, so whenever you open up FL Studio, it will automatically open with everything that you need, and you can start immediately. It is very easy to do. Just go to File, Save As, and then put it under Projects, Templates. Every project that you put in this folder, in this template folder, will become a template that you can choose. And if you've saved it there, you can see here, that's my standard preset. You can set it as your default preset by clicking on Change Default Template. And here in the drop-down menu, you will have a bunch of pre-made presets from FL Studio, but here you will also have the project files that you saved in the templates folder. So here, that is my standard template that I've created, the one that you can see here in the root project file. I started this project from that template. There you have it. These are the things that speed up my FL Studio workflow immensely. You can tweak them to your liking so that it's perfect for your workflow as well. If you want to create your own template file but you need a little head start, you can use my template that I just showed you. I will make it available for download on my website. The link is in the description, and you can download it and tweak it as you want, or just keep it that way and use it as your standard template. Thank you for watching. I hope it was helpful. If you want to get notified whenever I upload a new video, you know all of that, subscribe, press on the bell, etc, etc. And it would also be great to see some of you on my Spotify and Apple Music page. I will link them in the description as well. I've got a few original songs there, and I would really love to hear what you think about them. Well, thanks for hanging around, and we'll see us in the next video.